Saanich North and the Islands.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There is no bigger critic in this legislature of the BC Liberals' approach to government-funded partisan advertising than the BC NDP. They regularly and rightly leveled criticism at the Liberals for the way they treated public dollars as if they were part of their election campaign. On the eve of the 2017 election, the BC Liberals almost doubled government advertising budget to $15 million. They blanketed the airwaves with ads that many of were clearly partisan in nature. In opposition, we heard promises that an NDP government would end the use of partisan government advertising by having the Auditor General check ads to make sure that they were neutral. We've heard from this government that they're still committed to this, but we haven't seen action. Mr. Speaker, my question for the Minister of Finance. Where does the government stand today on the previous commitment to ensure that government advertising has independent oversight and that public tax dollars are not being used for partisan purposes?
Minister of Finance.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the member for the question. And I couldn't agree more on the need to do things differently. And I think the public is certainly seeing that. We are making sure that the advertising that we are bringing forward is nonpartisan and that it talks about government programs that individuals in British Columbia need to apply to be able to address it. So whether we're talking about childcare, Honourable Speaker, whether we're talking about housing, whether we're talking about pharmacare and the importance of people applying for pharmacare and the changes that have happened in pharmacare, find out what's possible for you is the focus of the advertising that we're looking at. And then to follow up on the member's second part of the member's question, which was what we're looking at when it comes to advertising, we are in the process of developing new standards right now to ensure that British Columbians have confidence in the process. We'll be happy to share those when the work is done, as I know the members agree with us that we need to make sure that partisan advertising isn't being paid for by public dollars.
Member for Saanich North and the Islands on a supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And no one would argue against the need for government to promote the important programs and services for the public. That's not what's in dispute here. Clearly, there is a need to inform the public. However, there is no place for public funds to be spent on partisan government advertising. And this government has been cautioned already by watchdogs for partisan advertising, only months into the tenure. We need independent oversight to put an end to this. In opposition, the NDP introduced a bill 3 times that would have ended partisan government advertising by requiring all ads to get the Auditor General sign-off that they were nonpartisan and factual. Our caucus would support that measure now. Let's not let this go any longer. People get cynical when we see a party say one thing in opposition and another in government. Mr. Speaker, my question is again to the Minister of Finance. Back in September, the government said that they were working on options. We hear that again today, options for independent oversight of government advertising. It's now March, and we haven't seen substantial movement. When will the government fulfill the commitment to having independent oversight of government? What's the timeline, Mr. Speaker?
Minister of Finance.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. And I don't have a specific timeline for the member, but I can assure him that as we're developing those standards, the work is going on right now. We're in the process right now of developing those standards. We'll be happy to share those with the member and all members of the House so that we can all get input into the standards to make sure that they are very specific around ensuring that public dollars are not being used for partisan advertising. That will include everything from the appearance of ministers in ads and making sure that is banned as part of those standards. So that's the kind of approach that we're taking. That's the kind of work that we're looking at. And we're open to all suggestions and all ideas. We're looking at previous bills as well and making sure that we put a process in place that's going to really ensure that the public can have confidence once again in the utilization of government dollars.